Yes! Hello, today. Look. So we've got a different type of video on our hand. I have myself a guide. This guide is really just here for you all, and it's also here for me because this video is obviously about Shaft. It's about struggling, and whether you're struggling in this game or another game because it's a gambling-based game, I have to make something really clear from the get-go, and that's, I think, something that all of you have to remember. Everyone gets shafted. There's not a single person playing this game that does not get shafted. Now, you define shaft how you want, but I define shaft as having to go through tons and tons of chrono crystals to no avail. And even when you do pull the unit, if you've had to go through an like a crazy number just to get one copy of a unit, you got shafted. It doesn't matter if you pull the unit at that point. I will be talking about some personal things after I go through these steps, because I want you guys to realize that even though I will be going, I'll give you a step-by-step guide of things that you can do, it's also nice to hear a perspective as well, not just what can you do when you get shafted, but just also know that as a human being myself, sometimes these methods and these steps, although they work, it still hurts, and you're still human at the end, unless you're a monkey, which in that case, I mean, ooh, ooh, ah, ah. But for the most part, most of you are humans that play DBL, so we let's get to it. So I think the first thing is, what happens when you get shafted? What is the first thing that you should do? Well, step one is to distance yourself from the game. Now, that doesn't mean deleting the game. That doesn't mean not deleting the game. It just really means put the app down, go for a walk, eat something, talk to friends, sleep, play a different video game altogether. Just have distance. So don't go on Discord or on Reddit or on Twitter or on Facebook or on Snapchat or on Insta or wherever, TikTok or YouTube even, and complain. Now, you can complain. I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying you shouldn't. And the reason for that is that you're not giving yourself that time to process the damage that is now being done to you. Okay? So I think that's the first thing that you guys need to realize when we're talking about this. Distance really just means staying away from the game. Even if it's for just a couple of hours. It's better to do that and come back with a little bit more of a fresh mind. All right? Step number 2 is to reflect. So you're going to want to actually do so reflect is a little bit ambiguous, but when I think of reflect, I really think of, was there anything that I could have changed? Is there anything that I could have done to change the outcome? And in DBL, especially when it comes to summons, the answer is no. There's nothing you can do to change it. The only thing that you can do is spend money or grind more. That's really it. Alternatively, the last thing you could do is just choose to not go back into the banner and call it quits right then and there. But that requires reflection. That requires you to actually think about it, ponder on it, and figure out, okay, what are my next steps? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? What do I got to do to be the person that can do the do? Right? So that's the idea. And as a result, I use that a lot. I have to reflect a lot on this game, especially when I make decisions, because let's be real. I'm human and I as well get shafted. Not this anniversary. This has been my best anniversary. But second anniversary was a nightmare. Just straight up. I'm going to talk about that later, but let's just move on to step 3, because I'm sure that that's going to be really important. So step 3, we kind of talked about it. It's to choose your move. So you've reflected, you've decided, okay, I want to do blank thing. So for example, let's take the example that choose your move is, I want to spend money. Well, if you want to spend money, I think the biggest thing to do is figure out within that reflection, as well as on choosing your move, how much money are you willing to part with? Alternatively, if you are someone that chooses, I don't want to spend any money, I am going to be done with this banner, and I'll pull on this unit on a later time in a different banner, then that is your choice of move, okay? That is your choice. And if you choose, I'm going to grind Chrono Crystals, and then I'm going to go back into the banner once I saved up enough, figure out how much you want to save up, and then go back in. Maybe it's one full rotation. Maybe it's the first time you get 1,000 CC. I mean, that's your call, realistically. Or alternatively, it could be, this game makes me unhappy. I'm going to uninstall. And that's okay too. Which brings us to step 4. Enact it. This means that I'm not asking you to reflect and then choose your next move and then not do that. If your choice is to spend money and to, let's say, budget yourself at $50 and then, do that, do $50, but don't go over. You've enacted, you've reflected, you've decided that my move was to spend only $50, and whether I win or lose in terms of my ability to pull the unit, you enacted, you have chosen how much, you've budgeted, don't go over it. I'm telling you with 100% confidence, and as well as someone that has gambled, as someone that has spent money on this game, do not go over budget no matter what happens. Take the L before your wallet takes the L. And that's the same thing with Chrono Crystals. If you budget, let's say, I want to spend 4,000 Chrono Crystals for my next pull, because you decide I want to re-pull. Budget the 4,000, save up the 4,000, do it, enact it, and then don't go over it. Take the L if you're going to take the L. If you've budgeted 8,000, then you get 2 rotations, right? But enact it and don't go past it. And if you have chosen to delete the app, then enact it. It's not making you happy. It's better to leave the game than to make yourself feel like complete garbage. I'm going to be quite frank with you. It's better to do that than to just make your life more miserable by playing a game that you don't enjoy anymore, or that makes you feel like they don't care about you. I gotta make that very, very big. It's so important, okay? Now, I want to give you guys a little bit of context here. If you do plan to spend money on this game or to budget your CC, plan ahead. Don't plan at anniversary. This is why I talk so much about planning and saving CC throughout the year. Because once anniversary comes around, if you do not have enough, you're going to feel very overwhelmed very quickly. So my biggest advice to you guys is to budget and plan ahead. It makes a world of difference, and even that, quick tip, quick note, it doesn't guarantee you anything. It just means you have a better chance. Why I advocate Zenkais, guys? It's because Zenkais will give you something in return. You spend 7,000 to get a Zenkai 7 unit, or 7,100, or sometimes less. But generally speaking, you spend roughly 7,000 to get a busted unit. Or at least above average, way above average. So, point is, you're spending your CC on something that's worthwhile versus an LF, which is a novelty. Now, with that being said, if your goal in this game is to play novelty units more so than anything else, then you got to decide, how much do you care about that unit? If you care about that unit, why have you been spending on every other unit that you've seen in this game thus far? To give you context, I'm not saying do this specifically, but I know of a person on the Reddit, Dragon Ball Legends Reddit, who saved up over 100,000 Chrono Crystals as a free-to-play. And they are waiting for Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku. So that means they have pretty much skipped everything up until this point because Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku isn't in the game. If your goal was Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, then in that case, why have you been spending on every other unit in the game? What I did, okay, so here, let me give you guys some now examples here. What I did was I wrote down a list of units that I thought to myself, I want these units if they come out. And I wrote the list, and, that is how I knew what I could spend on and what I couldn't. And when I say spend, I just mean chrono crystals. I don't even mean real money. So now let's go into some of the things that you shouldn't do, because I think just as much as there are things that you should do, there are also things that you shouldn't do, okay? And I think one of the biggest problems with things that with people that do the things that they shouldn't do is that it's so common and it happens so often, but it shouldn't happen if at all, because it doesn't make you feel better, it doesn't make anyone feel better, and in fact, if you're basically trying to ruin everyone else's feelings towards this game because of how you feel, then it's most likely time for you to leave the game. All right, so first thing that you shouldn't do. If you've got CC, don't just spend it as soon as you get it. I know it's so tempting, but then I get so many people complaining, I spent my 1000 CC and I got shafted. No, you didn't get shafted. You spent 1000 CC. Come on. 1000 CC and I got shafted? BS. 1000 CC is nothing. 1000 CC, if you're lucky, sure, you can get the unit you wanted. But 1000 CC is one multi-summon, one 10 consecutive summon. I'm not that lucky. We all get moments in this game where we do a single summon and we get this insanely good unit or a featured unit, and that's great. But then you don't consider how many times you've done a single summon or a multi-summon and got nothing. I got plenty of that. And so have you. Consider that. Okay? The next thing is don't hold a pity party. Do not just how do I even put this? Don't hold a pity party. Don't hold a salt fest. And don't project that on others. So basically, don't burn your bridges. Don't get angry at someone else for being lucky. And at the same token, use the steps that I told you at the very beginning instead of deflecting your feelings onto others. Because I do get viewers that will deflect their feelings onto me. And it's only because they're angry at the game. They're not even angry at me. And if they are angry at me, then I can't really do much about it. I don't even know who they are realistically, right? I'm just a guy on the internet. That's what I am. And it's just such an unhealthy way to live your life. If you are holding a pity party for yourself, if you're creating a salt fest, if you're trying to make others hate you as well as the game, then maybe it's time for you to leave. People that say, when is this game going to die? I don't appreciate it, because that just indicates to me that you hate the game while not everyone else does. So it's time for you to go. That's a better, more clear objective than just playing a game that makes you miserable. And I know that's counterintuitive for me, because you would think for someone like myself and someone that is making a living off of this channel, and when I say living, I mean that very loosely. But the point is, this is my job, and you would think I would want to keep you guys for as long as I can. But I would rather see you leave and as a result potentially stop watching my content if it means that your mental health doesn't take the biggest L imaginable. I'm here to try to make your experience of Dragon Ball Legends easier and a little bit easier to digest or easier to go through it all. But I'm not a miracle worker. I can't just give you luck because part of it is luck. So when things like hype, like Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta show up and you don't pull that unit, I I, I feel for you. I do, but it doesn't mean I can do anything about it. And at the same token, I can't do anything about it if I pull him, right? And then I think the last thing on the don'ts is don't beat yourself up over something you have no control over. So you don't control the outcome of your pulls. The game doesn't even really control the outcome of your pulls. It is all a randomizer. It's like playing the bingo, like a slot machine, and you just hope that something pops out. And that's what this is. It's literally a gotcha game. It's a gambling game. It's a slot machine. That is one of the worst gambling games out there, slot machines. And that is literally all the most popular games are. They're basically slot machines. Glorified slot machines in the form of our favorite anime-based characters. And I can see how that traps people, okay? I get that. And then lastly, I know I've talked about it a little bit, but don't spend more than you planned on spending, both CC and money-wise. If you have chosen to spend $100 on Legends, then that's fine, but don't go over it, even if you take the massive L, okay? I don't know which way is the correct one for you guys, so or in the same token, if you said, "I'm capping myself at 2 rotations on the anniversary banners," and you don't get the unit you want, don't go over that. Wait. New Year's is gonna come around, the units will drop again during that time, they do, and then you'll be able to have a chance to pull them. And then lastly, I think the last thing I wanna say on the don'ts is please don't use the shop in an unhealthy way. When I make videos about the shop, I am not promoting spending. I'm promoting smart spending for those that are interested in spending. If you are not interested in spending, don't spend. Those videos I'm literally building for those that are trying to optimize their spending, for those that are interested in supporting the game. Please do not use the shop to just try to pull the unit that you missed out on. That is an unhealthy way to use the shop. The way that I use the shop now is not the way I used to use the shop. I as well did a very bad mistake in using the shop as a way to try to guarantee my pulls. You can do that because technically as much money as you have is as much times you can pull, but that doesn't mean that's a smart idea. Don't forget, this game isn't gonna stick around forever. There has to be an end life to this game. There always is an end life to every game out there. And if there isn't, well, the only one that I can think of is like Tetris. Still around. Has tournaments and stuff like that. But that's besides the point. Point is, please do not use the shop for anything other than just supporting the developers and, you know, potentially having more fun in terms of just summoning. But if you're using the shop to try to summon for a unit that you have no control over getting, I'm sorry, but at that point, you are damning yourself for failure. Now, you might get the unit. Congrats in that case. But otherwise, why are you using the shop in such an unhealthy manner? Now, let's go over, like, to something to me, okay? Because I want to give you guys some personal experience with that. I've had 4 different cases, 4 different units that really, or 5 actually, that hit me in the gut in a way that was painful. First anniversary was Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, the purple one, the one that locks in. It was during the Frieza Resurrected saga. And I spent 20K CC into his banner. Nothing. Nothing. So I ended up doing that, reflecting and deciding that, I wasn't going to touch him anymore. And now it's 2 years after, and I think I have him at like 11 or 10 or 12 stars. So I eventually got him. It doesn't even matter how many stars. Even if I had him at 2 stars, I eventually got him. So you got to consider it that way. Another unit that and the one that initially got me to start spending was the purple Super Saiyan Borley. Like that guy was something else. When he came out, that he changed the scope of the entire game. He was a nightmare to deal with, and as a result, I felt like I needed him to play. And that was a mistake on my part. I should not have done that, and that was my first introduction to how to play the game in a very unhealthy manner. Please, please, please do not do what I did there. This is a perfect example of what not to do. Spending money to try to pull a unit because you want to be able to play PvP. In retrospect, I didn't need to play PvP at all. I didn't. And especially not with that unit, but I did it anyways, and I did get him, but that I think cost me like $150 for one unit. I don't know about you, but that doesn't seem worthwhile. I don't care if you pulled the unit or you didn't. That wasn't worth it. Especially since I wasn't making content at that time. I was just some person in my apartment playing a mobile game. That's what I was. That's who I was. I can definitely tell you that was not a good use of my mental energy. I'm not even going to worry about money. Just my mental health suffered for that. And I caused it. Another one was blue transforming Gogeta, the one that we're about to get more stars for. When he came out, I got him. I pulled him with my free-to-play CC. And then something triggered in my brain, and I thought to myself, oh, I'm going to pull him again. Oh, that was a bad move. And this is why I harp on people. You pull it once, you're done. Because I learned from that mistake too. I pulled on him, and I kept pulling, and I kept pulling, and then eventually I had no more CC. So then I was like, Emily, I need to spend some money. Then I spent $150, and I still didn't get him. And at that point, I was pissed off. So pissed that I didn't get the unit that I wanted to 6 stars. Do you see how ridiculous this is? And I'm not saying the game, I'm saying to myself, like, how ridiculous I was. I pulled him. He was a 3-star unit because it was the X999. And yet, for some reason, I wanted more. And this is why I say to you guys, if you pull it once, stop, use multi-Z power, because at that point, you're just trying to fuel fire to the flame. Quit while you're ahead. If you've won, don't do more. You're done. You finished. You got what you wanted. You got what you sought after for. There's nothing left to grab. And I wish someone was there to tell me that bit, but, YouTubers are out there and they don't give you that advice. They just say hype, or like, this is the summons, fire summons. This is amazing, or this is not so good. And you're just like, wow. And then you emulate them, but without the money, so the resources, or the reasons as to why you're doing it. And then finally, the last one that really pained me and I think hit me the hardest. I'm going to skip over the second anniversary one. Vegito Blue was a nightmare for a different reason, but we're not going to get into that. Let's talk about this guy. I don't have him to this day because I budgeted. So this is around the time when I was on Twitch, while I was a content creator as well. And I budgeted $300 for both Gogeta and Borley. So both combined. $300. That's the max, plus all the CC that I already had. If you weren't there, then you didn't know that that $300 went all the way to Gogeta. This meant that I spent my free-to-play CC plus $300 worth of CC just to pull one copy of Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta. And you think you'd be happy. No, I wasn't. Because I wanted them both so bad. And this hit me the wrong way. So wrong, in fact, that I actually had to take a break from Twitch. Although I was already taking a break from Twitch a little bit at that point. And I had to take a break from YouTube as well. Because that just hit me so hard mentally that I just couldn't do my job anymore. And you might be thinking, wow, how lame. Maybe. But I know there's tons of people like that as well. And this is a unit that I really want, and to this day I don't have. Because even when he showed up again, I decided to skip a banner, knowing full well that I wanted him, but knew that, if I'm going to wait for this guy, I might as well wait for the next anniversary, the next New Year's, and then try to pull him. Because as much as I love this unit, and as much as he's on my pull list, I have so many other units to be thankful for. I have a team that I really, really enjoy. I have, outside of this game, a wonderful partner, a wonderful life, even if it's riddled with a lot of mental health issues and physical issues sometimes. And I wouldn't give that up for a game like this. And I wouldn't give up my happiness for a game like this. So, when I took a step back, I didn't take a step back from playing the game. Because even though it made me sad to know that even after all of that, and I didn't pull him, and by the way, another 8,000 CC afterwards, I said to myself after that 8,000 of free-to-play Chrono Crystals that I grinded up, I'm done. That's it. No more. I'm going to take the L. And it is the smartest, and I am going to say, I am so grateful that I made that decision. So yeah, he is the unit that got away, and he hit me to my core in a way that I can relate to a lot of people that are right now suffering because of 3rd anniversary and their luck. But I just want you guys to know that even though I've rambled on a little bit, or a lot, and even though I've done both steps and experience, that you're not alone in how you're dealing with this. Just remember, you are not a YouTuber. And if you are, then in that case, you know the damage that is going to be done to your wallet for the majority of the time. And if you're not, don't compare yourself and don't try to be a YouTuber. You're not getting anything out of it. At least not in the same way. If it's a hobby of yours, this game, then maybe you should go on YouTube. You might not be successful, or you might be very successful. You'll never know, unless you give it a good actual attempt. But what I do know is this. Pining over a unit in a way that becomes unhealthy for both you and others is not the way to go about playing this game. And being salty in people's YouTube comments, or in in any Discord, or in anyone's YouTube comments, or to yourself even, is just not okay. So if you feel like this game is taking a hefty mental health, like a toll on your mental health, maybe it's time to drop the game, or at least take a hiatus. This game is supposed to be played for fun, and if you're not playing it for fun anymore, then why are you playing this game? So I hope that enlightens some of you. I hope that helps you guys to understand why I feel the way I feel, and why I look at a shaft as an opportunity to figure out how strong am I at keeping to my word. How committed I am to being rational. So I hope that was insightful for you guys, as much as it's been insightful for me. with that being said, guys, that's the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm not even going to finish the rest of this because I just want you guys to know that I'm here for you. If you want to have an honest, actual, earnest discussion, please, let's have one in the comments below or in the Discord or even my DMs. An honest discussion where you just talk about your feelings and then maybe ask for advice. Should I leave the game? Should I take a break at least? Should I save up and just take an L? You know? Spin it. Spin it on its head. Decide what you want to do. But sleep on it first. You're going to wake up the next day, hopefully. I would assume so. Your money is not going anywhere if you choose not to spend it the same day. So if you sleep, it's going to still be there the next day. You have nothing but time. So I hope that you guys take that to heart. And I hope that for those of you that have made it this far into this video, thank you so much for watching. And I'll just see you in the next video. Take care.
Mana mana. Saitama!